I said 10 hours.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Men to Men podcast. We're so glad that you are here joining us live, or if you're watching this on the replay, that you are here watching this video. Thank y'all. Thank you for being here. It's been a blast, man. These last, I think we like
Man,
5, 6 in
what?
now,
Five,
something like
six?
that,
Oh,
man.
something
So
like
we
that.
rolling them out, man. We sticking to our plan every other week, every other Friday at 9:30 Central Time. So excited to have y'all as part of this, man. My name is James Howard. I'm a youth pastor out of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and this is your co-host, my host right here, whatever you want to call him. What's your name, man?
Ralph Peters out of Houston, Texas, church planner, soldier in Southside. What's up, y'all?
Y'all, so we're so excited. So excited. So today, if you saw the thumbnail, or you saw it on the invitation that you may have gotten on Facebook, y'all, we talk about some lust, right? You got Valentine's
Mm,
Day,
mm,
Valentine's Day, as some people may say.
love.
But we're gonna be talking about that. We're gonna be talking about dating. We may touch on marriage a little bit, but we'll probably talk about that a lot more on the next episode. And so yeah, man, pretty excited about that. Pretty excited about that. So before we jump into it though, you know, happy Black History Month, man. We
Black
rolling.
history, Black
Yeah,
power.
man. So it's February, y'all, and uh, however you celebrate it, man. Happy Black History Month. And we're gonna celebrate it today a little bit, with a little bit of a game. Not, I guess it's not really a game. It's more like fun facts. And
Yeah,
so, me and Raph, man, we was talking. What was we talking about? Was it Tuesday?
yeah.
Other night, we was talking about coming up with some kind of game or some kind of activity or something like that. But today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through some inventions, some everyday inventions that
Mm.
were invented by African American Black people. And
Did
y'all,
you know?
did you
Mm,
know? Y'all,
come on,
this list.
crazy.
It's some of this stuff on here. I had to check.
That's
On the
crazy.
internet, you can put whatever you want to put on there, but I had to like cross reference a couple of these things, man, to see,
We had
man.
to
So,
fact check.
yeah, fact check, man.
We
Fact check as much as I could on the internet, right? And so,
did
yeah, we're gonna go through some of the inventions, and these are like kind of common everyday inventions that were invented by African American people. And so, the first one was invented by a guy named Philip Downing. Do you know who? Do you know what it is? I don't know. Some of these guys I ain't really just learned about, right? And some of these
yeah.
ladies too. But the first invention by Philip Downing was a mailbox, bruh. A
Shout out to
mailbox
you. Shout out
literally
to you.
gets used every single day,
Yes,
even
sir.
on Sundays if you get Amazon packages, right?
Yes, sir. That's crazy. Hey, I just made some mailboxes for my girls for their class. They had like Valentine's Day cards that they were putting in
Okay,
the mailbox. They get to tell they classmates, we did that.
yeah, we did, we
We
did
did that.
that, man. Hey,
We did.
that's what's up, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that remind me we gotta get all the stuff. Y'all do like the cards and all that kind of stuff and everything. The
We got it.
boxes,
It's
all
already in
that.
the kitchen. It's already
Hey,
in the kitchen.
we rolling.
We got the good candy this year too.
You
It's
got
like
the
a
good
little
stuff, man.
you got the fun dip. So my son, he gonna get a lot of the ladies. He gonna, hey, I ain't
Hey,
got the
man.
regular candy, the regular chocolates. I got the
Oh
fun
yeah,
dip.
he be bringing that good candy, yo.
Hey,
You know what that means? They got
we about
money.
to have some fun. Yeah, yeah. Hey, well, I don't know about that,
Yeah.
but
Hey, we got it at a discount. We got it from
by,
Target with
by
our extra
faith.
points. Right. Man, so that's the first one. So the mailbox,
Shout out
the
to you.
next invention that was invented by African American person was a guy named Garrett Morgan. If you're
Okay.
watching this and you know these people, I want you to leave in the comments what they invented. Because some of these
Mm,
I was aware of, and then some of them that I wasn't aware of.
yeah.
And so if you know the invention by the inventor, I want you to leave it in the comments, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this on the replay. So Garrett Morgan, you got any idea what he created? What he helped invent?
Garrett Morgan, he was the one that created the pencil.
No, no.
I ain't
He
never
may have
heard.
done something else, but according to this site and a couple of other sites, man, he helped create the modern day traffic light.
Can you lend a
Traffic
bro?
light.
What?
Traffic light, bro.
Really?
Like, yes.
I don't want to get
These are,
pulled over by no more officers from running traffic lights.
hey, so we gotta respect them, man.
It
You
wouldn't. It
gotta
wouldn't
do
be
that.
here.
So stoplight, right? Traffic light. All right. So next one. Richard Spikes. Richard Spikes. Anybody know that one? Who created what did he create?
Richard Spikes connected to Spike Lee. He created the video camera.
I feel like you just started like
just trying to. Hey, we did it all if we're gonna be honest.
hey. And so it says right here, it says the automatic gear shift, right?
Oh wow.
It's like in the car. It's like literally like because a lot of people don't know how to drive a stick. You know how to drive a stick?
Do not. I mean, I know the concept, but I have never done it in my life.
I've read about it, but I've never had it. I've never been able to do it. And here's what I got. I love my dad. I do. I love him. But he taught my younger brother how to drive a stick, but didn't teach me. I said, how you skip a whole kid? And so yeah, it's just I'm not sure why that's the thing. Pops, if you're watching this, man, you know, we just gotta get that settled. Yeah. All right. Grown man, that's my dad to come teach me how to drive a stick shift. I don't even know nobody that has a stick shift car, bro.
I don't either, bro.
I don't.
You'd be hard pressed.
I'm trying to think, like, nobody I know that would let me drive their car.
Hey, are they making? I mean, I guess you can't do that with an electric car, right? You can't do a stick shift.
Yeah, I think electric is all it's all in there. So you don't have to shift anything because it's all in the little thing. I'm sure they can like create a way for it to simulate it. Or to kind of feel like it, because you know some of the electric cars they don't make noises, don't make engine noises, right? Right. It doesn't have like that kind of engine, but like it can play engine noises through the speakers and stuff like that, make you feel like you got a regular car. So
that is hilarious, bro. Make it feel.
Right. Here's another one. George T. Sampson.
Oh, Samson? The Samson, you know, Samson in the Bible, he had long hair, so I'm gonna say the weave or wig or something. That was him. For sure. I
love how you coming up like with your answers. They so wrong. They are so wrong. But hey, it sounds good though.
Yeah,
if you say it confident enough, I bet if you can say it confident enough, make a short or a TikTok about it, just put it out there, man. People will believe you. They'll believe anything, right? But for this person is it says the clothes dryer. The dryer, bro.
Wow.
The dryer.
On, man. Hey, this is important stuff.
I guess you know, say, man, I'm tired of hanging my clothes outside. For to put this up in this machine.
Hey.
I'm like, you a machine for this. It was earlier. I don't think she's on this list, and I can't remember her name. But I was doing research, and it was a African American lady. She was a dressmaker, and she helped invented the modern day ironing board. So the ironing board, like just common day, everyday stuff, man. Man, we didn't made a lot of stuff, man. Our ancestors
did it.
All right. Oh, okay, cool. Alexander Miles. All right. So about this, I want to see. This is more fun trying to get you to connect this to something that's it's gonna be funny if you connect it to something that is actually.
I mean, I'm just when I hear Miles, I hear what's the Spider-Man? Miles Morales.
Oh yeah.
So it's got to be something, you know, synthetic. I'm thinking web, insect, something around, insect trap, spider trap, roach.
Oh, no,
rat. I don't know.
Stop, man. All right, and so he didn't invent the elevator, but he invented the automatic elevator door. So the door, I mean, the way you get into the elevator.
Yeah, that's important.
Because before, you know, like the old school movie, they had to open it, pull it, shut. There you go.
That would make me more nervous.
This, my wife said it's phenomenal. Yeah, how y'all coming up with this stuff, man? If you are,
Alexander McQueen,
okay.
Cars, Pixar.
All right.
speedometer,
No.
speed,
See,
racing.
no.
I,
No.
Mo,
All
I'm
right.
with you.
This
I'm
one's
with
funny,
you.
man. This is what we just finished talking about right here. All right.
So,
John Purdy. I think that's how you pronounce it. Purdy. What did he invent? We just talked about this earlier. You should know this answer.
hey, our ancestors know about this too.
Yeah.
If you watch WWE or anything like that, give respect to us because we did that. The folding chair. Come on.
John Purdy invented the folding chair. Him and another guy. I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm assuming the other guy may be a white guy because he's not on the list with him. But they invented the way to conveniently fold chairs so that they can become extremely portable. And they were all camping type people, traveling, and kind of sports stool creating type of people. So folding chair. Yeah, and y'all know that whole situation a few months back with the folding chair, and how other
Montgomery.
brothers
Come on now.
went a little wild with the folding chairs, man.
It's Black History Month. We went back, but we won that one.
All right, next one is by Alex Parker.
Mhm.
Alex Parker. Anybody know this one? It's an everyday item. Everything that we use.
Alex Parker.
Well,
Alex Parker.
How you finna make this connection, bro? What you got?
I was thinking Rosa Parks, so I was thinking bus.
I knew it.
So like, Rosa had to sit in the back of the bus. So Alex, he had to create something that the little dividers in the bus. You know, when you sit the row dividers. Is that what he?
No, not at all. All right, he created the gas heating furnace.
Oh wow,
that's
Come
crazy.
On, black people,
come on, man.
Hey,
all right, here's another one. Here's another one. You know, we aren't really known for this sport. I mean, after a certain person got pretty famous, but this guy named George Grant, he helped create something from a sport that we aren't commonly known for playing. So it ain't got nothing to do with basketball, ain't got nothing to do with football.
I'm gonna say hockey, bro.
Okay, not that uncommon.
Okay, not that uncommon. Hey, I feel like we okay.
Hey, it's a couple of us out there playing, man.
It is, and
okay, my wife got it. She got it.
Golf. What she say? Oh, okay. Shout out. He made the golf club.
So this dude made the golf tee.
Oh wow, that's important.
The piece of wood that you put the golf on. That's like the most important part of the game. That's how you get the whole thing started. Right?
He got tired of missing. That's what it was.
He got tired of missing. He's like, man, let me pick this ball up off the ground a little bit.
The hand-eye coordination was a little.
He said, man, I can't hit that ball on the grass in the way. You know what? We need something to lift it up just a little bit. Yeah. We can hit this ball, man, and we can actually win something around here. All right. This guy, Thomas Elkins. Any idea what he made? Any idea?
Thomas Edison. Thomas Elkins.
Yep. Because that makes sense.
It do, bro. The connection's there. T-E. You know, I'm just saying Thomas Edison. Thomas, you know, unless Elkins spelled another way, because you know we like to spell names different.
A whole bunch of silent nouns and verbs.
Elkins
like, how you nouns?
L-L-K-I-N-S.
How you get a noun in your name, bro? All right. What you say?
The nightlight.
All right. Nope. He helped in 1872 create the modern day toilet.
Oh wow! Come on,
modern day toilet. And y'all know we use that every day.
I was just sitting on that after my first cup of coffee.
Man, you stupid. Hey, just went through, bro.
Just went through.
All right, let me see if they got some more. Last one right here. This one I thought was pretty cool. And then we got some other like bonus ones that didn't make the top 10 list. Mary Von Britton Brown is her name. What did she help create? Or what did she create?
Britton. Say the name again.
We gonna make me say it again for real, bro. I'm pretty sure I said it wrong. Mary Van Britton Brown.
Jesus, yeah.
She kept her maiden name and threw her married name at the end.
Yeah, I was thinking Mary. When the shackles off my feet.
Yo,
So
though.
Hey.
Okay. What you got?
Are we going somewhere?
You close, bro. You getting somewhere.
Not you done hype me up a little bit. I'm gonna get it wrong. I was thinking chains. But that would be trash if she did chains. Because we got some history with some chains.
Nah, she invented it in 1966. So
okay, 1966. It has nothing to do with chains or metal.
It has nothing to do with chains.
Okay, feet. Because the song "Shackles on My Feet"
ain't got nothing to do with feet.
Dancing
ain't got nothing to do with dancing.
Mary. Mary, did you know
this dude
that your babe?
You making these connections?
You can tell I grew up in church, boy.
Hey,
I know connections somewhat.
And love some music too.
Connected with the Lord. I don't know, bro. I'm stumped because of the name.
All right.
It don't sound
this
black.
This one right here. It says she got tired of feeling unsafe at home when her husband is at work. So she created basically one of the first home security systems. I was reading about this earlier. She connected a camera. So at this time, it's 1960s, so cameras were a thing, right? She connected a camera that, I don't know if it was like motion censored, but some way it was able to get from one location to another so she can see through a peephole in her door that displayed it to a monitor in her house. Wow. So she could see outside of her door from wherever she was, which was crazy. I was reading that, man. So so one of the first home security systems with cameras in the 1960s. Crazy, bro. Yeah. All right, a couple of honorable mentions was the Pacemaker by Otis Boykin. Pacemaker. So that's one.
Shout out.
This one I knew. This one, Potato Chips. I didn't know his name, but George Speak. I don't know. AKA Drum.
Okay.
Potato Chip. I remember seeing a video on that one. That according to the story I heard, he was making potatoes for a Caucasian man. He didn't like that the potatoes were too thick, and so he was like making fries or whatever for him. And so, being petty, he cut potatoes super thin, fried them up, and brought them out to the dude.
And he loved them.
And I think the dude loved them. Right? And so in 1853. He created the potato chip. I saw that one. Like I said, I probably saw that on like TikTok, something like that. But and y'all, if y'all want to fact check me, that's fine. That's cool. I would love for y'all to do the research and let me know. Thermostat for real.
Petty sound, right?
Petty sound. We created the furnace and the thermostat.
Hey, bro.
So that's one. Another one, Super Soaker. I knew that one. 1990.
Did not know that. Real.
Yep, I knew that one. Lonnie Johnson. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I remember seeing that because 1990s. I remember it was a black dude holding a Super Soaker with a whole bunch of like renditions of it around him. So I remember that picture vividly because I used to love Super Soaker, man. You ever used to use the Super Soaker when you was younger and like drink out the bottle like it was a regular bottle of water? You ever did that?
Bro.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I drunk out the faucet. But
you be outside with your Super Soaker in the hot summer sun, and you pop that thing off like it was a Stanley Cup or something. They just go at it, bro. It be tasting. I was probably drinking all kind of what's the BPA.
I ain't never had
drinking all that kind of stuff, man.
I ain't never had the Super Soaker. I always had the cheap brand that used to break easily. You'd be able to squirt it 2-3 times. It's like this ain't even working no more. It's over with.
I guess I was around a lot of people. I don't know if we ever had. I probably did have one, but I know for sure I had friends who had the real deal.
What was the guy, the Super Soaker guy?
His name is Lonnie Johnson.
Because the reason why I knew black people.
What'd you say?
I said the reason why I knew black people created that because of Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy made the Super Soaker famous.
That's a different one, bro. All right, and then the last one right here is the touch tone telephone. All right,
Okay.
touch-tone telephone, man. And so I guess they got tired of doing this. And so she said, you know what? And it's Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson. That sounds like
That
somebody
sounds
that
like
made something. That sounds like she got a PhD. And she's I'm
Hey,
tired of this, man. I'm finna make me a way to make this easier, man. I would love to like know like the processes, right? To
yeah.
look and see if they ever got interviewed and be like, hey, what made you think of this? What made you
What
think of
made you
that
think?
kind of deal?
Yeah,
So I'm just thinking about the people that may still be alive, like the dude maybe who created the Super Soaker. It was
yeah.
1990.
1966. Well, depending on how old she was.
66. Yeah. You got one that was invented in 1987. So the touch-tone telephone, that kind of technology ain't really been around. Just like when you really think about it, like in
Yeah,
the scope of existence of the world, that
yeah,
wasn't that long ago, you know.
yeah.
So the pacemaker, 1964. Security system, 1966. Man. Anyway, man. So yeah, that's just a little bit of fun, and I want to encourage you, as you're celebrating Black History Month, to go look up stuff like that, man. Look up
Yeah.
the history, because it is American history, you know. And so we have done a lot of things. So it's been pretty cool, man. So yeah,
Every day you get mail. I
yeah.
want you
Every
to
day
see
you get
yourself.
mail, man.
Thank you, Black
And
people.
so yeah, man. That's what's up.
Thank you,
All
Black
right, man. And so that's it. That's all I got for a game icebreaker. Thank all of y'all
people.
for tuning in.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna put this out there. My mama put what year she was born.
Hey.
So yeah, it was close to them years. I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if she thought about that. I don't want to put her on blast and people had to do that math. They'd be like, you know what? Whatever.
Still young out here. Black don't crack.
Hey. All right. And so y'all, we got thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all
Yeah.
for who are here. Also, don't forget, for those of you who are watching this on the replay, to make sure that you are subscribed if you're watching this on YouTube, so you can get more content like this in the future. And so yeah, man. But dude, this month, Black History Month, you got Valentine's Day, you got Super Bowl, we got a lot of stuff that happens in February,
Speak
man.
on it.
To be the month of the year, man, it's the richest month, I would say, with
Come on.
all the stuff that's in there, man. The
It's my mama and my daddy birthday. Come on, shout out mama and daddy. Happy birthday.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. I got my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, their birthday is actually on Valentine's Day, and they married to each other, which is like the craziest thing. So it's just like you celebrate Valentine's Day and like all that. It's just, I don't know. It seems like a lot of gifts though. It seems like a lot of gifts. It's like, what do you do with that? You buy your gifts. I'm gonna have to ask her later on. It's like, hey, bro, you buy your gifts for birthday or for Valentine's Day? Which one you do? You just clump it all together.
Yeah. Unless she the one to be like, don't give me a gift this year, but she don't really mean it. I always used to take people for their word. Like my mama one year, she told us for Christmas, I think she was like, I don't want no gift. And I said, all right, man, I did. She was looking so crazy on Christmas Day. Now I know I said, don't buy me no gift, but I wanted you to buy me a gift. I said, you know what? Difficult.
Right.
Difficult.
She was looking around like that meme of that lady who would be looking.
Man, what?
Like y'all, is it outside? Is it like, is it up under the table? Where my gift at?
Where is my gift? Y'all
always get gifts for mamas, wives, all that, fellas, whether they say to or not. Always do. That's just advice from men, to men, right?
To men, come on,
right?
Hey,
don't always get a gift.
Yes,
always get one. So, but yeah, man. So our focus today, let's shift gears a little bit since we created, the gear shift right there.
Come on.
All right, you saw I did that.
I saw, yeah.
You thought that,
you ain't push the clutch though. I ain't see you push the clutch.
I had to because it's automatic. Because we did it. Because automatic. Cause we made it easy. Right?
Made it easy for us. Come on.
So let's jump into it, man. Our focus for today, I think we talk about lust. Talk about sexual temptation. We're gonna talk about dating a little bit, man. So it's your show, bro. Let's get it.
Yeah, man. I mean, like we said, like it's that time of the year. I mean, even as we think about we got Valentine's Day, we got the Super Bowl. I remember that one year Super Bowl happened. It was Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson halftime.
Yeah.
And I just remember, a lot of people caught that live. So they saw a lot
at church.
at
It's a,
church.
it got stories at church.
Church house and people I was unfortunate. I think I was playing a 007 at the time during halftime, and I heard it. I was like, oh, let me try to jump in there real quick. Missed it.
Right.
That was the
Yeah.
Lord. The Lord knew. But I think that when we talk about Valentine's Day, it's easy for us to have all of the feels, begin to talk about, ooh, I love you, this and that. But I think it's important for us as believers, as Christian men, especially as we think about dating relationships, married relationships, to know the difference between love and lust. And so I think that, scripture is pretty clear about the differences. One honors God and mirrors the character of God, and the other doesn't. It mirrors the character of the enemy of our souls, Satan, and all of the lust and gratification. When we see Adam and Eve in the garden, he's appealing to the lust of the eye. He's appealing to all of these things. When we get to the temptation of Jesus, we see him appealing to the lust of the eye, the flesh, all of these different things. And when we look at our lives personally, we see the enemy also appealing to those things, and you especially feel the weight and tension of it and reality of it during a time like this. So I remember in our dating relationship, me and Tierra, my wife, we used to have to try to create boundaries, and we used to struggle the most around times like this because it's sweet. You got your chocolate, you do your date, and you do all the things. The world, society will tell you, it's all about this eros love, and I think that if we're not careful, instead of using this as an opportunity to glorify God, using it as an opportunity to be an example of what it means to follow Jesus and not follow self. If we're not careful, we'll miss those opportunities that the Lord has given us to be able to image who He is to a lost and dying generation that is looking to us. And so I think that Christians have a lot to say on what love is, not society, but society has been the thing that has defined that for us. So when you watch movies, when you see TV shows, you see all of these things centered around what people call love, but it's really lust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of the first things that come to mind is 1 Corinthians 13, when it talks about what love is. And I think love is not just a feeling, it's not just a pleasure. It is the model of Christ, who is selfless in all his ways. And, I don't want to miss up the passage, but I could go off of the, just what I love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it's not rude, it's not self-seeking. You got all of these different elements on what love is. And I think the world just has a small bit of it. And I think the world can't even get that bit to the degree the church can. And the bit is the pleasure piece, right? But in the church, we truly experience the real pleasure that you can experience in love because of what Christ has done and the way that he's structured and has created marriage and the beauty of marriage and what that resembles and models. So I guess, how was a question that first comes to mind as we talk about this, right? For you, how was love defined, and how did you even? This is a two-part question, right? So, how was love defined, and then how did you engage, or how was it taught about lust? Because I feel like purity culture needs to come up as we talk about lust. You've got purity culture, which I think the heart of it was right. But I think the reality of it caused a lot of brothers and sisters to view sex and love wrongly. So I think the reality is, like, we do want to communicate, exhort, encourage people to be pure. But the way that we go about that and the ways that we've gone about that as a church has been the wrong way. So two-part question for you. First, how was love defined? And then, like, how was your view, or how were you taught about lust growing up in the church?
Yeah, man. I think for sure, like probably most people watching this, love was always a feeling. Was always based off of how I felt on the inside, like, and how somebody else made me feel. Like that's real love, right? In middle school, trying to date people, right? When I was allowed to have a girlfriend and all kind of stuff. Like, I love them because she make me feel good inside, or I love her because she makes me feel a certain way when we do whatever. And so my definition of it was mostly about feelings. And I mean, I had a lot of time, like with my pops, being able to like talk about those feelings and to talk about those things. But it was never like, hey, let's talk about what this is. I love my pops, right? But it was never like, hey, let's pull out the scripture, let's talk about it, right? We understood God, we went to church and stuff like that, but the actual biblical definition of love, I didn't get that until I was a little bit older and started to discover things for myself. And so as far as lust is concerned, though, for sure, it was just like, it was a sin, right? You just don't do it, right? If you lusting out here and you thinking about certain things, it was always I guess shamed that you do that. I mean, which to an extent, like you don't need to be sitting around just lusting, right? My one of my old youth pastor, Tony Romanique, and my old youth leader, Nicole Jones, man, we used to sit when I was interning at West Point, man, we used to sit in the office and talk about just silly stuff. And one time, man, it was like, man, what if your sins were identified by a certain smell, right? Like when you start sinning, like you can smell it or whatever. And so the joke was like, yo, what does lust smell like? Does it smell like barbecue ribs or something like that? And so every once in a while, I'd be like, man, you be like, man, you over there lusting, ain't you? Right? You sitting over there jealous, right? And so we joked about it and stuff like that. But it was always this idea that, hey man, like for real, like this isn't nothing that you need to play with, but how to fight against it and how to combat against it. I didn't really get that, there was some holding people accountable. You had some brothers when I was in high school that we were close, had some one-on-one conversation like with my youth pastor, talk, and all that kind of stuff about how to fight against it, man. But shoot, bro, I ain't get that under control until college. It got worse first before it got better. So yeah.
Right. That's good, bro. I feel like the same is for me, especially thinking about lust. And I think what was always kind of said was, hey, just don't do that. That was it. And there was no like replacement there. It's like, hey, run from that. But there was never run to something. And like you said, I mean, because of that, I struggled for a long time because I thought that all I was supposed to do was to run or to take something away and not replace it with something. And because that was the way I was taught about lust, I struggled with lust because there was nothing better to my eye that my eye was captivated with. There was nothing there that I was able to see more beauty in. And I think like that's the problem sometimes. And I think too, like we were talking about purity culture, I just mentioned it. I think what purity culture does, unfortunately, is it says, hey, lust is bad, or not lust, sex is bad. I'm sorry, lust is bad.
Right.
Lust is bad unless you like, just if we're talking about lust as far as like over consuming or just if we're talking about Jesus, like loving Jesus so much, but that's still the wrong word to use for the love of God. But what it taught me was that sex is bad, and these good things that God has created are things that I should avoid at all cost. And I think that yes, you avoid it in certain seasons of life, and if it's not within God's means in the ways in which it's supposed to be expressed, which it's marriage that we are to express this love through sex. And so I think that because that was the reality, it was just like, sometimes there was this shame and guilt around like, loving my wife or having these desires for my wife. And so, I think that's important. But as I think about the scriptures, man, I realized that love, there are a few things about love that's just good. Love is not just the feeling, right? But it is. It's not just passive, but it's active. It's an action. It it also is not just something that you're giving to somebody, but a sacrifice, something that you're giving away. And so, like, I think of John 15, right? And it says, this commandment, this is Jesus speaking. He says that you love one another as I have loved you. This is biblical love. Greater love has no one than this. Come on now. He about to get into it. He says that someone lay down his life for his friends. Then he says, you are my friends if you do what I command. Then he goes on to say, no longer do I call you servants, for servants does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all that I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you. So without going into it, because there's more there, because he's like, you did not choose me, but I chose you. The beauty in that as far as what love is, but we see the greatest definition of love through the person of Christ and the ways in which he gave of himself. And I think that is the true testament and the hardest thing about love, because when we talk about love in our society, it is self-seeking. Right. It is about what we can get, right, and not about how we can give to others, how we can serve others. And so I think that in our society, in our culture, we need to just redefine that thing. Hey, oh, you think loving another person is them doing all of these things for you? Nah, it's you actually doing all of these things for them and laying yourself down and thinking of them before you think of yourself. And so I think that once we begin to build around that, even when we talk about the marriage relationship, even when we talk about our needs versus their needs, we're not engaging the marriage in the way of saying, hey, I need you to do this for me. We're saying first, hey, I am going to do this for you, because marriage is the ultimate model of Christ's relationship with his church. And what did Christ do? He thought of the church first, so much so that he gave his life up for him. And so, I think that for us in this season of love, as we think about all the things, hey, don't be distracted by what the world is presenting and saying, hey, this is what love is. That is a cheap version of love. The harder thing, the more loving thing to do is actually going to require more sacrifice, giving, than some people are willing to give. And I think for believers, the beauty is not only do we have the greatest definition of love and able to see it in all of its expression, we have the greatest help to love, and that's in Jesus through the Spirit of God. And so it's like we've got the Spirit of God that is enabling us to live out what 1 Corinthians 13 says. And all of the things, it's like, hey, in your own ability, you will not be able to be patient. You will not be able to be kind. You will not be able to be self-seeking. You will not be able to be all of these things. But by the Spirit of God, you will be able to, because it is the power of God that is giving you all the ability to do those things. Christ was patient. So guess what? You can be patient. All of that there. And I think that, we really need that definition in this season, because I'm like, man, we need help. We need help, especially in battling lust. So let's just talk about it. We talked about, ultimately, how lust was kind of taught as growing up in the church and everything. But I think the battle of lust is a thing for a lot of brothers and sisters. Let's not. This is the Men to Men podcast, though, so we're gonna speak on it, and we're just gonna know that it goes for women too as well. Right. But I think that fighting temptation, especially in a season like this where everything around you is telling you to fulfill these desires within you, how do you go about that? In dating relationships, I would even say in singleness, brothers, you got to be careful. You've got to know yourself, know your triggers, because if you don't, then you're going to find yourself in a predicament and in a situation. What a lot of people like to say, you're going to find yourself in the right place at the right time, and you're going to get those results. Something happened that does not honor God. So how can we, you got a lot of knowledge around this. As men, how can we fight temptation and lust in a season like this? What are some tips, some things that you would share to a man watching that would be helpful for him? Because he's just like, man, I don't know. I mean, everything from social media to the conversations I have at the barbershop, everything is just I'm overwhelmed by all of this that's saying fulfill your desires, fulfill your desires. What does a man of God do in all of that, bro?
Yeah, I think one of the first things that we need to understand that once I got this, it helped me out. First thing you have to understand is that temptation in itself is not the sin, right?
Yeah.
Jesus was tempted to do a lot of stuff that he
Come on.
could have did,
Come
and
on.
being God in the flesh probably would have been people probably would have been like, oh, yo, it's fine, right? But he made the choice to not defile himself by indulging in the temptations. And so, y'all, we can get tempting situations. Like you could be on your phone, just minding your business, scrolling on TikTok, and then one video just pop out. It's like, oh, you got the choice, right? You go click it, you go stay there, you go keep swiping, right? And so the temptation that it came up, or that thought, that intrusive thought that the enemy tries to throw to you, all this kind of stuff, it's okay that happens, right? So I think we need to like level that playing field, like, because I think a lot of brothers, I know I was for sure, felt bad about being tempted, right? I felt bad that I had that thought, even though it's like, man, like, why did I even think that, man? Where did that even come from? I felt bad that that woman walked in front of me, and even though I didn't look, I felt bad that she was there and she was dressed a certain way. It was just like, hey, temptation in itself, first of all, it's not a sin, right?
Yeah.
But that sin can happen real quick. It can happen real quick, and it's a constant decision that you're gonna have to make. And especially when it comes to lust, man, because lust is that sin that really, man, don't nobody else know about but you.
Yeah.
And I don't care how holy you are. I don't care how you present yourself.
Yeah.
As a man, probably lust is probably going to be the hardest one to get under control and to beat. So a couple ways that I would say it, and I tell this to the guys I mentor who are specifically trying to beat this thing, right? Lust, sexual activity, pornography, and all this kind of stuff, man. The first thing you got to do is you got to set yourself up to win.
Come on now.
You just have to. And so what does that look like? I don't know, right? Like, what does that look like for you? That's the question. What does that look like? So if I'm a guy and I know for sure that, you know, I'm gonna be looking at a young lady, and I look at her and I'm automatically gonna be thinking certain thoughts about her, what I can do with her, and stuff like that. Like, you gotta set your mind up, set yourself up to be like, hey, I'm finna go up in Walmart, and I know they finna be dressed inappropriate, so I'm gonna have to keep my eyes up, or I'm gonna have to do this, or hey, I'm going into this conversation that I have to have with this lady or whatever, but I know she always wearing a low cut shirt, so I'm making up my mind right now to keep my eyes on her eyes or on her forehead or something like that, right? Or, you know, it's just thinking of certain things that, you know, you're putting yourself. If your temptation is lust on Instagram accounts or TikTok videos or any type of pornographic stuff, or not even stuff like that, just stuff that, you know, it could just be an attractive lady that you think is cute, and she may not even be trying to, you know, do no kind of thirst trap type stuff, anything like that. You know, she could just be minding her business and she thinks she's cute, and you sitting there looking at her like, bruh, ooh, like, you ain't gotta stay on her account. Like, you ain't gotta stay on that picture. You ain't even gotta like it. Like, you don't, if that's your thing. So I'm thinking, know your limits, like you were saying. Know what causes you to want to go into those lustful things. And then even if you catch yourself in a, man, like, we have the power to get out of those thoughts, right? I tell guys all the time, like, you don't have to sit there and just lust, be sitting there just like,
Come on.
You don't have to stay in that thought come to your mind, you don't have to hold on to it. And I've heard the illustration of birds that fly over your head. That's what lustful thoughts are. Or birds that fly over your head. You don't have to reach up and grab those things, man, and hold on to them. And so I'll say, man, set yourself up for success, man. Know your triggers, and then do what you have to do to set yourself up not to go down that road. And I know we're probably gonna go further into that here in a little bit, but just off the basis. Temptation isn't a sin. Know your triggers or whatever, and just be aware of that and set yourself up when you move into that. So yeah.
Yeah, I really love how you just kind of level the game and playing field and initially said, hey, look, just because you have the temptation, that's not something that's inherently bad. That's something that we all experience. We all experience temptation. So just know that on the front end, just because it's there, don't mean that you've found yourself in sin. It's what you do, once you're tempted that ultimately is the deciding factor of if you find yourself there. And I think too, like it's like, I love how you kind of talked about the analogy of like if you're in a grocery store, it's like keep your eyes on the second floor. Don't go downstairs. Stay
Right.
upstairs. It's like how you're wired, what you need to do. And I would even go on to say, like, and obviously, again, the temptation is not a sin. So the passage of scripture that I'm thinking about doesn't necessarily connect all the way, but the idea is there. It says if your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. If your hands, cut it off. And it's like, the spaces and places where you're going to be most tempted.
Yeah.
And so in knowing that, there's sometimes there's nothing that you can do. Like grocery store, you got to get groceries.
Right.
Well, you could DoorDash. I mean, in Houston, like DoorDash, Instacart,
Hey,
all those. But
you do that Mississippi too.
but sometimes you don't have that ability. You got to go to the grocery store. But I think with things like social media, I think sometimes the best approach for brothers who have found themselves struggling and struggling and struggling, it's like, man, I don't know. You might just need to log off.
Right.
And I'm not going to go as far to say delete your account, but if you need to delete your account.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an amount of freedom sometimes when you do that. I know there have been multiple times when I've fasted social media where I was like, I didn't feel as much temptation as I normally feel. Why is that? Because the images aren't bombarding me, And so I think that us knowing that, it's like, man, the question is not, or the thought is not, how can I take away from all these things that I enjoy? But I think the thought is, how can I enjoy God more? And when I think about that, how can I experience more of the grace of God? If it means me not being on social media, then it is worth it because I want all that he has for me, not just a portion. And so I think once we start thinking about that and seeing that God is not a killjoy, and so some of these things that we're encouraging you to stop, it's not to kill your joy, it's to increase it. And so, like, just thinking through those triggers and creating boundaries and saying, hey, I'm just not going to go. Or if I go to the grocery store, I'm going to take a brother with me because I know that my eyes are prone to wonder. And maybe that brother can be like, hey, my guy, what you looking at?
Right.
Hey.
Right.
And what I'm saying? I know it's a little more accountability and just you got a little more thought process when you have somebody with you. And I think too, just being able to have a space where you can be vulnerable and confess your struggle. And I think, like you said, if we come into the game of dealing with lust and temptation on the front end saying, hey, the temptation is not the sinful thing. It's what I do with the temptation. If we come into it like that, then it should allow us the ability to be more free and liberated to confess the struggle. Like, hey, man, I am tempted right now in this moment. Like, I am tempted to take a second look. I just, sometimes I text my renewal guys, my brothers. I'm like, hey, it's getting rough out here. It's hot out here. I need some prayer. And I think just being able to get that out, because like you said, with lust, the only person that really know about it is you and God. It's one of those things that don't necessarily have to be visible to the naked eye. People don't have to be able, like, this can be an eternal battle, and people think that nothing's going on in your heart and in your life based on what it looks like. And while at the same time, inside, the lust is just destroying you, and you found yourself in these sin cycles and struggles, and nobody knows about it. And so I think that the first place of freedom is just being able to communicate, hey, this is something that I'm dealing with, and to know that it's a normal thing. It's not something that only you deal with. There are a lot of guys, most guys are going to have that struggle because of how we're wired. And so just to be able to let that thing out, to know, hey, I'm not by myself, I think is good. But obviously those triggers are there, and so you have to just say to yourself, like, hey, either I'm going to deal with this trigger or I'm gonna find myself falling in sin. I thought about this before our time. The thought that always comes to me when we talk about lust is John Piper's quote: "Be killing sin, or sin will be killing you." And it's this reality of, if we are not dying to ourselves by the power of the Spirit, then we are going to be allowing our flesh to be alive and to rise in those moments. Scripture is clear about how we're to engage in battle with lust. It never says be okay, be complacent, be comfortable with the temptations, with the things that
Nope.
rise. It says put to death. It says be sober minded. It says flee. It says walk in the Spirit. Like, these are things that we have to actively engage in by the power of God and grace of God if we want to find ourselves victorious. It's like the battle has been won, believer, through Christ. And not only has Christ allowed you this victory, but he's also present with you to help you. So grace is not just something that the Lord has given you to forgive you, to pat you on the back and say, hey, it's all right, you're good. Grace is also something that has been given to you to go to war. So make war. Do not stay where you are. And I think too many times we find ourselves in David situations where we're supposed to be in war, and we hang out, and we're idle, and we find
Right.
ourselves in all kinds of mess because the season that we were supposed to be in was to be fighting, and we were
Right.
fighting. Um,
I said, I'm sorry, man. I mean to cut you off.
please,
I,
please,
I
please.
I did a sermon one time, man. I think it was one of my first sermons I preached at Grace Temple.
Yeah.
In the point we were talking about temptation, we specifically talked about David's story, and one of the points that I said was be where you're supposed to be and
Mhm.
do what you're supposed to be doing. A lot of times we fall into temptation or we fall into sin because we're not where we're supposed to be and we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. And it leads me to let me see this scripture in First Corinthians chapter 10. I want to put it on the screen right here, man.
Get us
This the
out there.
word of God right
Yes,
here.
sir.
And so let's see this right here. I know you probably already know the scripture. I know you do. I know you do. If you don't, you can just act like you do.
Yes,
So
Lord.
right
I
here,
read the Bibles.
I read the Bibles.
The
I
biblioteca.
don't know if it's popping up right there.
Yep, it is.
All right. But it says right here, it says no temptation
My
has
God.
overtaken you except what is common to man. God is faithful and he will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure to the end. Y'all, like y'all, we say, like, I'm telling you, man, and I know I'm probably talking too much, but
Nah, please, please.
people, I deal with guys like all the time, man. Guys come to me and be like, hey, I really want to stop looking at pornography. I really want to stop lusting. I really want to stop yada 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 yada. And we always get down to the point where it's just like, you can not do that, right? Like there is strength inside of you to find the way out. But
Mm.
what happens is we're so focused on what we want, we're so focused on the desire, we're so focused on the pornography or the sex or the lustful image or whatever that we can't see it's like an exit door behind us, right?
Yeah.
And then we fall to the temptation, be like, man, I ain't even how I do this again. I said I wasn't gonna do it again, right? But you don't go into the room looking for an exit, right?
Yeah.
And it's a military guy. I don't know where I heard the story from, but um like special op type dude, military minded guy. And he says, man, every time he walks into a room, he's always looking and surveying the room. Right. He always
Mm.
knows where all the exits are. He always knows the weird person who's acting weird and kind of funny over there. He already knows what's going on within the first minute or two while he's in the room. If anything pop off, he know where to
Mhm.
get out or he know what he need to do to make sure that him and his family or his wife, whoever's with him, is safe. And a
Mm.
lot of times, spiritually, man, we walk into situations, we walk into relationships, we walk into parties, like even practical stuff like that. We walk to this with our focus just on what we want. And it's just like, hey, turn up, hey. We don't even think. about the fact that, you know, hey, it might get a little spicy up in here. You know what I'm saying? We sitting here on the couch watching Netflix and chilling. You know, this is a dicey situation. Let's put ourselves in better situations. Let's look for the exits. Let's make sure that when we're going out on dates, that we're going with groups of people, that even when we're alone, that somebody else knows that's holding us accountable, that we're alone with our girl or whatever the case may be. We have to be aware of these things, like the scripture says, right? Be aware of the thing, because it's there. There's always a way out. There's always a way out of temptation. I don't care. God has scripture, it's truth. There's always a way out. We just don't look for it. So we always fall to it because we're never looking for the way out. That's my take on it.
No, that passage, bro, I think that if we be honest, sometimes we, in the moment of temptation where we feel, you know, all of the things, there are times where we don't believe that passage to be true, where we think that it is more than what we can bear, and it's not possible to find freedom in that moment. And I think, you know, because the struggle has become so great, our trust in God's ability has become so low. Our view of God has become so low. Like, God in those moments is not as powerful as we, you know, say or think he is. And I think that, you know, in that reality, you know, that's the lie of the enemy, that God cannot get you out and give you victory over that temptation and sin, or that I'm just so controlled. And the reality is not that God is not powerful, but that you've allowed that thing to live for so long.
I was just about to say something like that, bro.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go.
It's there. Because I think that, you know, we worked that muscle for so long that it's alive and well, and it's gonna take some time and killing and death and replacing those thoughts with the thoughts in the mind of Christ. And I think the more we begin to train ourselves and allow ourselves to go to God's word and to be filled with his word and his presence and his ability, the more we will find ourselves victorious. But it's going to, if you spent 10 years struggling with that thing, then the reality is it's not going to happen overnight. That's the beauty of sanctification. Right. There's this reality of you've been justified at the moment you were saved, but there is still brokenness that exists. Your heart is still being transformed and conformed into the image of God. So this is going to be a lifelong thing of struggle, of finding yourself at times victorious and finding yourself at times failing. But for the believer, because those two realities are true, you have not quit. You have not stopped pursuing Jesus. It's when you stop pursuing him that it becomes a problem. It's when you don't get up that it becomes a problem. It's when you don't see the problem of the sin that you're in that it becomes a problem. But the believer is going to live a lifelong journey of trying to be more and more like Christ. And the testimony for us is not that we drastically changed overnight.
Right.
There are some realities there, right? Like, I know when I first started following the Lord, I was a cusser. And when I started following Jesus, it was like, okay, like, I don't cuss much. I don't know what happened. It was a switch. But there are going to be some things that are lifelong, and what you're going to be able to say, you're going to be able to look over and say to yourself, I look more like Jesus than I did yesterday. Even if it's just a small increment. It's like, man, you know what? That I don't do this, or I'm not as quick to, or, there are just going to be some realities that help you to see the transformation that is happening. And then once we die and are with the Lord in our glorified bodies, we ain't got to worry about it. It's like, everything is great. Right. But until then, it is going to be a lifelong process of, man, I want to do better, man. And prayerfully, that is the thing. And you're seeing yourself conform and transform more and more into the image of God. And when you're not doing it more and more, the beauty of God's grace is the Spirit is going to convict you and let you know, hey, brother, you ain't doing it right.
You got to keep rolling.
And so I think that is grace too. So as we think about lust and all those things, I think that those are some things that we've got to just be aware of. Like, yeah, you fail. That don't mean that you're not a son of God. Get
Right.
back up. That
Right.
means you're a son of God.
Right.
But think about the story of the prodigal son, and I want you to hit on what you were going to hit on because I don't want it to get too far. But do you think about the story of the prodigal son? The father didn't, say to the prodigal, "Hey, look, you got to do all these things first before you can be welcomed back into my house."
Mm.
It was just the fact that the son chose to come back,
Right.
that he embraced him. And the
Yes.
encouragement for you today, if you find yourself struggling with lust, in lust, finding yourself so many times in defeat and feeling like a failure, feeling less than the son of God, hey, here's the encouragement for you today, man. Come back. The Lord is waiting to embrace you and love you and bring you back in. He just
Yes.
wants to see you back. So please, brother, do not stay in the sin. Do not stay in the muck, in the garbage, in the lie that the enemy tells you that
Mhm.
it is not. Come back home, bro. But yeah, hit on what you were about to hit on, man, because I feel like it was something there that I don't want to miss, that I need for myself. Hey,
Man, here's the thing. I want to I want to touch on what you just said,
yeah,
because here's the thing. I work with guys, the guys who are serious about beating pornography, beating lust, and stuff like that. We work with each other for a long time, for like years, right?
yeah, yeah,
And there are some times where the guys will come in and they're just like, James, man, I messed up. I did this, I backslid or whatever, I did this and this and that. And they just like, you could just feel it. It's just like,
yeah,
oh God, oh
yeah,
no, I messed up. Right. And I gotta stop and I gotta tell them, man, you lift your head up, bro. First of all, you in this meeting with me.
yeah.
Second of all, you just
Come on.
confessed your sin. And now we're gonna get back to the Father. And then
Mm,
I gotta sometimes remind the guys, hey, you remember what you looked like 2 years ago when you came, to me,
yeah,
2 or 3 years ago when we started this relationship. You remember all the other stuff you was doing like every day?
yeah, yeah.
And this is the first time you failed in how long?
Mm,
Dude, bro,
mm,
you're doing good,
yeah,
right? And it's not that we settle with being like, oh, okay, at least I'm not as bad as I was 2 years ago, right? But at the same token, it's like, man, I'm not as bad as I used to be. But God, man, you brought me so far. If I keep going, what can I become? Right?
wow,
What
wow,
what can I be free from? And I used to when I was going through my trying to break free from pornography and a lustful lifestyle and stuff like that, man. I thought the idea of living without that was impossible. Right?
yeah,
I thought that there would be no way that I would not live this way. This will not be part of my life. But I just kept going. I failed so many times, bro.
yeah.
So many times throughout the years. And it was a journey, right? That's
Mhm.
part of the journey, right? You get up, you fall, you get up, you fall, and then you find yourself eventually doing less and less and less and less of the things of this world and the flesh, and more and more and more of the things of this world. And so when I tell guys, hey, you fail, okay, you good, you get up, dust yourself off, man. What are you replacing this with? What are we going towards? Our goal isn't to stop looking at pornography, right? Our
Yeah,
goal isn't just to stop lusting.
yeah,
Our goal isn't to stop having sex, right? All great goals, all great things. But if that is your only focus, and if that is your only goal, you gonna fail because your body gonna be like, nah, bro, this ain't good enough. I like this. I'm gonna go back to it. But your goal has to be, man, I want to honor God with every single part of my life. That's what this
yeah,
whole channel is about. And because I want to honor God with every single part of my life, I no longer want to have sex outside of marriage. Because I want to honor God with every single part of my life, I no longer want to indulge in pornography, self gratification, or anything like that that's dishonor to God. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to sit around and lust about this girl or do this. I don't want to. And it goes with so many other parts of your life. Because my goal is to honor God with every single part of my life, I no longer can have XYZ as part of my life.
mm,
And when that is your main focus, man, you start to move away from those things and you start to move closer to Christ. And that can be in
yeah,
your marriage, that can be in your finances, that can be in your health. Because my goal is to honor God in every single part of my life, I no longer do XYZ.
yeah. Man, you said a lot there. I'm about to share a hot take for all the brothers watching. Hot take. Your problem is not lust. The problem, the real problem is if you think that lust is the only problem. Because the reality is all sin is grievous and deserving of death. So when we get to a point and place where we say, "Hey, the only thing that I see in my life that is grievous and deadly and dishonoring and rebellious toward a holy God is my lusting," we fall into the trap of the enemy. Is like, "Oh, bad. I'm just going to get all these other things that are manifested in your heart and in your life that are just as grievous to God, a holy and righteous God, as that lust is." And so I think what it does is it causes us to compartmentalize and to just deal with one aspect when God wants us to have wholeness and complete victory in not just one area of our life, but all the areas of our lives. And it's like, that's how good God is. He doesn't just want to deal with this one little thing. He wants to deal with all of these things. And the beauty is he's forming you more into his image that looks more than just a less lustful man. And so I think that that's a reality. But I also think the reason why we're not prone to confess and we feel bad sometimes, especially when we talk to those that have been discipling us, is we've had bad experiences of brothers who have discipled us. And it's been these who've had the right heart and they've desired to see you fight temptation and to win. And what they've done is they've done all of these exhortations and saying, "Man, you need to get it together." And I think, what's the passage? Galatians 6. Let me try to pull it up real quick. I'm reading out of the ESV from the U version. I was just talking about this Sunday. It says, Paul. It says, "Brothers, if anyone is caught in any transgression, you who are spiritual should restore him in a spirit of gentleness." I think there might be another text that talks about humility and gentleness. And the reality is, for you brothers who may be discipling other brothers who are dealing with this sin, here's my encouragement to you. When you engage and interact with this brother who's struggling with a lust or a sexual sin of some sort, remember first your struggle. Remember first the things that you battled with. Also, remember the heart of God and how God engages you in all of your sin. Before you go ham and you go in, gentleness and humility. Remember the state of your heart before you try and go in on another brother about the speck in his eye, while you got this big old log. And your struggle might not be lust. And praise God that that's not your problem as you disciple this brother who has that problem. But you have other things in your heart that are there that are just as grievous to God, just as sinful to him, just as threatening to the separation of your relationship with him, that you first need to be reminded of in that interaction, in that engagement. So please engage that brother with gentleness and humility. And part of that might be what you just said, James, earlier, is like, hey, let's level the playing field.
Right.
Temptation is not a bad thing. That is something that we all deal with. So, hey, bro, it's okay that you were tempted. And also, hey, I'm glad that you came to me after you fell in this sin. Let's get back up. Let's go. Because just as I had the same grace to wake up this morning and be presented with new mercies and new grace, you have the same thing given to you. Therefore, because that is true, we can go together. Let's go.
Yeah.
We ain't gotta wallow in this. I ain't gotta be the spirit of God for you.
To
grow and get you to a certain place. Hey, God is gonna do the work, man. But I'm just saying, I just feel like all of that was in the atmosphere. We just needed to help us out.
Here's the thing about it, man. Anybody that's coming to you with a confession, they know they're wrong. They know that they're wrong. You don't have to sit there and tell them they're wrong,
man.
Right?
Come on.
And so, I've done it. I've done it the wrong way, where I'll be like, "Come on, bro, you're gonna have to get it together." But I've learned over the years receiving that type of grace and being able to give it out now. It's just like, yeah, okay, you messed up, and you can see it, man. You can see when guys coming to you and they just like, "Bro, man, I did it again. I can't believe I did it." What you gonna do? You gonna sit there and be like, "Ah, yeah, man, you messed up." Yeah, you did. You should have did that. Why you do that? You know, they know why they did it because they fleshly and they wanted to do it and it felt good. And so that's why they did it. You know why you
Right.
used to do it.
You know why
So
you?
that's
Yeah,
a dumb question. That's but it's like, hey, let's move past that. Like, dude, yeah, you messed up, right? You know what you need to do to not do that again, right? So what can we do? Like I said before, to not focus on that, right? But to focus on my goal of getting closer to God, right? Not just focusing on not sinning and not doing this. Like, how can I get closer and closer and closer to God, man? So, dude,
hey,
that's good stuff, bro.
that's
Good
it,
stuff.
bro.
I think we need to leave it right there because if we go any further, we going for another 30 minutes for sure.
Oh, that's real. That's real.
Cool.
Hey,
But hey, man, I think we need to talk about this some more, and we'll talk about it some more in the future. We'll probably have some like one-off videos and stuff like that in the future. So make sure you are subscribed on the YouTube channel, and if you are on Facebook watching this, that you are following the Men to Men podcast Facebook page as well. And also too, we don't really talk about the audio, and so we do have a Men to Men actual podcast on Spotify. I think it's on iTunes. Maybe I don't think it's on Google because I think you got to pay for it to go on Google Plus though. But we got some other places right there, man. So you can check out whatever links are around the video. Other than that, man, thank y'all for tuning in to this episode of the Men to Men podcast. Next video we got in 2 weeks, man. We gonna talk about marriage. We're gonna talk about marriage, man. We talked about a few episodes back.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about it as it relates to Valentine's and all that kind of stuff and some other things we got coming up, man. So y'all stay tuned for that. Other than that, man, y'all have a blessed day. Have a blessed weekend, man. And y'all be good. Peace.
Subscribe. Grace and peace.
Yes, leave comments. All that stuff, man. Y'all be good. Peace.
Love y'all.